Udało się, Fabian?
A to nie jest z tego? To nie jest na taśmę? Że nie mogę tego zdjąć? Bo ja próbowałem to jak Łukasz wyciągnąć.
Ja już idę.
Nie wiem, czy jak Łukasz źle robię, czy to jest na taśmę. A nie chcę.
Microphone number 2 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Czy piątka jest still alive? going the C3 Indonesian bolide. They are testing for what?
Schon mal anders in die Kamera einzeigen. Schon mal anders in die Kamera einzeigen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back live from Most FSCZ 2025, Christian. And yeah, the weather couldn't be nicer. We got a nice 16 degrees outside right now. It's going to be really hot later on. But before we start talking about today, I think it's time for a quick recap about what has happened yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yesterday we had the driverless skidpad and the driverless acceleration events. We had 9 teams competing in both. So, yeah, a high number actually finishing scrutineering this year, which is quite remarkable. And what was also very remarkable was the timing. When we're looking at the timing, we have in acceleration the top 3 teams were within 600ths of a second. I don't know, I've not seen it before. Do you?
No, really. That is crazy. Shows how close all these teams are.
Yeah, and this was only for acceleration because in skidpad we had the same. We basically had the same situation. We had top 3 teams or the top 2 teams within, basically also 500s, which is, we haven't seen it. But what do we have to expect today?
Well, as you just mentioned, the teams are super close. We don't have a favorite here. Like, there's no team that really stands out that will take the crown. So it's super tight. So for now, in the morning, we're starting with the Driverless Autocross. The first teams are getting ready for that. We've seen the team from Chalmers already pushing down all the way, and also the team from Aachen, Écurie, is pushing all the way to the Driverless Autocross. But this is not all the action that we will see today. In the evening, or in the afternoon rather, we will have the manual driving, starting off with skidpad and acceleration. And we will also have the track drive from DV, which essentially is like the endurance event for the driverless cars. So lots and lots of track action going on today. We will try to cover most of it for you. And we're excited to be here today.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think we just jump into the action straight away. We see actually Écurie, so the team from Aachen, pushing towards the track.
Yeah, Aachen, they took a while yesterday until they were ready through the scrutineering. They were standing at the noise check for quite some time. And then they just came and immediately set the fastest time in acceleration, which was super impressive after we've seen plenty of times being set in the low 3-second range before. So it'll be really exciting to see what they can go for here.
Yeah, and they, as you mentioned, they set the lap, 1 minute before the event closed?
Yeah. That was in the skidpad, I think. The acceleration, they were actually doing it a little earlier, I think. Yeah. Another thing, what I just mentioned before, is definitely the weather. We got 16 degrees right now. It's still a little bit chilly, you know. We're sitting here in a shirt, and it's not super comfortable. But yeah, we are supposed to get 29 degrees later on. So the track is going to heat up a lot. And The crazy thing about it as well is that since it cools off so much during the night, the whole asphalt is super cold in the morning, and then basically gets warmer and warmer and warmer during the day. So track evolution is a thing here, right, Christian?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, it's quite funny to see also in the middle of the track, not on the track that actually been driven, but on the asphalt here you can see big puddles of water still from the rain 2 days ago. But yeah, I think we will see it disappearing today, and as you mentioned, the track will heat up over the day quite dramatically.
How much do you think is track evolution relevant in the driverless category?
That's actually a very good question. I mean, we have seen it yesterday, that there was some kind of evolution, but not that much. Maybe it had the influence that just made Aachen win acceleration.
Yeah, could be, possibly be. Some rubber on the track, you know, just a little less wind as well. I mean, with margins that close, anything can do the difference in the end.
Absolutely agree. So we're just seeing that Aachen is going ahead of Chalmers. I don't think anyone has decided in which direction to queue yet.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, they're not in a rush, right? We got more than 2 hours to go for their runs. They're only going to stay back there to do their autocross runs for now in the morning. They don't have to push forth and back like yesterday. So a little bit less stressed, I would say. But still, I mean, I guess for some teams especially, they just want to get some times and quickly maybe go for another run later. And I'm really looking forward to speak to some of the team members later and see how they approach it on a tactical level, on a strategic level.
Yeah, it looks like the approach from Chalmers is identical to yesterday. They also started very early. They had a lot of problems with the pre-inspection, with aerodynamics and ride height clearance. So it looks like they're going for the same approach, because yesterday they were able to clear it because they went very early on track. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the thing, right? This is always the benefit of going very, very early to make sure that you can actually clear the pre- and post-inspection. Chalmers actually set the first time in autocross and acceleration yesterday. Already quite quick there, but they unfortunately got DSQ'd in the post-inspection, and then they were working on the ride height of their car for almost like 2 hours, just trying to get through the post-inspection, pre-inspection again, and then coming back again. So yeah, it was just a forth and back, and luckily for them, they were allowed, or they basically gave themselves the time to just be able to adjust it for that long.
yeah, absolutely. This can take some quite time. I mean, they just adjusted everything right in front of the stage, which maybe was also a little bit uncomfortable for them, to be honest, because we were obviously commentating what they were doing while they were doing it. So, yeah, if they have to adjust something today, it's a lot more far away.
Yeah, 100%. Also, later today, we will be joined by our at least a little more experienced DV former student participant, Stefan again, who's been on the microphone yesterday already. Our interviewer, Michael, will not be here today. He is in the engineering design, which is also going on simultaneously. So all the teams are getting ready for engineering design, showcasing what they have engineered and built during the year, and striving for the best positions there. I think another thing to mention, we had the first finals yesterday evening. Maybe some of you saw it already at the very end of yesterday's stream. The business plan finals happened, and I guess I can say this much, that we saw the judges later arguing about who should win. So it feels like there were a lot of teams that really did a good job, and it was really, really close in the end.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we don't know the results yet, but the discussions were heavily. So it took, how long did it took actually? I think way past 9,
Yeah,
10.
100%, 100%. So the judges really didn't have an easy job there, and it was really interesting to see for us as well. Now, let's have a look at the schedule. So as mentioned already today, yesterday we went for the autonomous acceleration and the skidpad yesterday afternoon, the business plan event finals. Today, Christian, maybe you want to repeat for the ones that joined a little later?
Yeah, so for Thursday, obviously, as we just mentioned earlier, from 2 to 6 p.m. today, we have autonomous track drive, which, as Jonas explained, is kind of the endurance discipline for autonomous driving. But parallel to that, we also have acceleration and skidpad in manual mode. So with a lot of action on the track we expect to have there. We will see, and we try our best to cover everything and to mention every team that is actually attending. So this is the plan basically for today. How do the next days look?
Yeah, Christian, and tomorrow we will see lots and lots and lots of cars on the track. In the morning we will have the second sessions of acceleration and skidpad. We can see the track already being prepared here. The cones are being set up and measured exactly to where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, this will be my question. How exact is the track from year to year?
Yeah, that's the cool thing about FSCZ. We talked to the organizers, and we've seen it in our data previously as well, that the track is super accurate from year to year. So you can compare it very well. All the disciplines are at the same position as last year, and also the cones are in a margin of ±4 centimeters, we were told.
Very interesting. Yeah. So that's basically it for Friday, right?
Yeah.
And then we only have Saturday left.
Exactly. On Saturday, there will be the endurance with a morning session starting at 9 and going all the way till 6 p.m. I mean, we've got 68 cars here, given that they all passed the technical inspection. So lots and lots of track action.
Yeah, will be super exciting days.
All right, and as Stefan is getting prepared with us here, we will cut real quick and see you in a bit once the track action starts. And we are back. E9, team from Aachen, seems to be almost ready to go for the Autocross here. We've also seen more teams pushing all the way back. So we've seen the team from Delft pushing to the Autocross, and also Karlsruhe followed them shortly after. One more team that we can see here on the test track is Zurich. So basically, yeah, half of the DV teams already getting ready for the Autocross here, doing some final adjustments, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense, right? Time is a little bit shorter than yesterday. We have 3 hours in total, not 4.
Yeah.
And it can take some time that the teams get ready, as we've seen it yesterday.
Definitely. It's a tight schedule, but unlike yesterday, teams that already passed screening don't have to worry about that anymore. I also heard from the screening itself that they are not doing anything anymore today. So whoever didn't pass DV screening yesterday evening is not going today, unfortunately.
So we can basically summarize, we have 9 teams in DV.
I think it's 10, actually, because Milan didn't set a time. They DNF'd in the skid pad and didn't attempt an acceleration run, which is super unfortunate to see as well. So both the teams that were fighting for the win last year, Prague and Milan, are not in contention right now, but maybe they will change today.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of points to get, right?
Totally right. Totally right, yeah. Yeah, and now we are also joined by Stefan, who has got a little more experience with DV cars. And I've got a question for you, Stefan. I mean, looking at this, you know, the driverless cars, they do the skid pad, they do the acceleration. It's always the same on every track that you go to, right? Unlike the autocross and the track drive. So I imagine, you know, that could be some programming, some coding for the other disciplines. But how do teams approach the autocross in this case?
Yes, so with the acceleration and skid pad, you know the layout. You know everything about the track. It's always the same, so you can just hard code your approach. With autocross, that's not possible. So you need some kind of exploration approach. You need to map the track, see all the cones, identify those within your pipeline, and have a trajectory. The interesting thing is the approach that the teams have here, especially from a strategic point of view. You can play it safe, you can go for a very easy first run and push it in your second run, or if you want to win, you might already have to push in your first run. With the autocross, you're limited to 1 hot lap, so you cannot go quicker on the second one. This is actually very interesting for the track drive event, which we'll see today in the afternoon.
How do you test this before the competition?
Well, you pretty much have to have a test track. You have to build the course and have your car find its own way. Usually, tight turns are a problem because it's not easy to identify whether the cones you're seeing belong to your lane or already the next turn. But you got to make sure that you try to test this as much as possible. Like DV performance scales heavily with testing time. The more you test, the better the car gets and the more tuning capabilities you have. So we'll see whether the teams approach this competition here as pretty much a test as well. Have the first run to try something out, and afterwards make some changes, adapt their software, change some parameters, tune their control systems, and come back to set an even faster time.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it yesterday. With a couple of teams, we've seen Chalmers like going directly, full throttle on the acceleration autonomously. But was it Zurich? With a slow first run, checking everything, setting a lap time, getting some points, and then in the second run, actually flooring it completely and winning the competition, or not the competition, the discipline.
Exactly, so strategy is everything here, and with autocross, it's a lot harder to get it right on your first try. So we see whether the teams start. I think Aachen, how's the car? Let's have a look.
Yeah, correct, Stefan. You're right. It's Aachen E9 going for their first run. Seems like Chalmers, who've been there first, are taking some more time to preparation. And yeah, now we will see Aachen first. And looking at how they performed yesterday, I'm confident that they will get a valid run in very quickly.
Yeah, totally agree. They were one of the teams also in skidpad, where it was very, very close. They were within 800th of a second to the first place. So yeah, I think we have high confidence that they will also set a a low lap time today in the autocross.
Yeah. Yeah, as we saw yesterday already, it always takes a little more time for the car to stage, to get ready. The first team members are leaving the car now. The last one is just turning on the driverless system. We will see lights starting to flash. Maybe Stefan, you can explain again what the lights on the car that we are about to see will actually mean.
Yes, so we always say this, we see the same procedure at the starting line. So the autonomous system responsible is making sure that the car is safe. The car is checking on itself, especially that the brake system is still there, is still functioning. And afterwards, the responsible will turn on the high voltage system, and this will make the car transition into the ready mode, indicated by a continuous yellow light. Then everybody in the team will leave the car, go to a safe position. You can see that in the video here. And they will remotely send the go signal. Once the car is driving, those indicators will flash in yellow. The car is on its way, finding its path through the track, and hopefully it makes it to the finish line, where it will brake, come to a standstill, and once it wants to stop the run, will transition into the AS finished state, indicated by a continuous blue light. This is required to have an valid run, so we hope that the teams make it this far. If they have to stop the car in case of emergency, the car leaving the track, anything like that, the flashing blue lights, and you might hear the sound that is created by the car, this will be indicating that the car is in emergency mode, to just make sure that it's safe and come to a standstill.
And just to be clear, Stefan, if you stop the car in emergency mode, also if it stops within the designated area, the run doesn't count.
That's correct. The car has to transition itself into the finished state and indicate that the run's over.
Stefan, what really stands out as well is that we see cones in one color on either side of the track. So blue cones on the left side, yellow cones on the right side. Could you maybe elaborate on why this is happening or why this is being done?
Well, you could say it's to make the pathfinding easier, but it's so hard as it is. There are a few teams that actually use the colors. If your system runs cameras, you can differentiate between those blue cones on the left and the yellow cones on the right. You don't have to do this. There are different approaches that do not feature this. Okay, the cars are ready. Maybe we have a closer look.
Yeah, attractive system is on. Flashing, and off we go. Oh, yeah, that's super unfortunate. Super unfortunate. The car not even passing the starting line. Nevertheless, this will count as a run. That's a DNF for the first run of Aachen.
The teams have two attempts here. We'll see how Aachen will handle the situation. Not quite far into the track and already off. So they might have a look at their code. They might come back later because there's still some time left and go for the second attempt. I know that Aachen already is working on their driverless system for a few years, even though I think in Germany last year they did not set a valid time. So we'll see whether this will change here. They have already very impressive performance in the acceleration event yesterday.
Yeah, from our perspective, it almost looks like the car has mistaken the actual path. So it still went in between two cones, just not the ones that it was supposed to go through.
Yeah, and I think in comparison to other tracks, actually, this is far less dangerous. I mean, we've seen some cars actually in driverless crashing into the barrier at FSG last year or the year before. So at least this is not an issue in this competition because we have a lot of runoff space around the track.
Excited to see now how Aachen is tackling those issues, trying to get this done. But yeah, you're right, actually. We've seen plenty of crashes with DV cars, especially on the acceleration event often. And I think we really have to thank the organizers here as well to create a track that is super, super safe, that is not close to any barriers, unlike, for example, on some other events where they do it on a start-finish line. So yeah, huge props there, definitely.
So, and while we see Aachen pushing out, we see Delft entering the track. Jonas, what did we see from Delft yesterday?
So Delft came quite late. They took some time to pass the scrutineering, and afterwards we've seen two rather safe runs, I would say. I think they got a high 8.8 second lap in the skidpad, but it still looked very, very solid. So it didn't seem like the car was going slower or faster in any corner. So it was just steady state as you're supposed to be. And it was quite similar in the acceleration as well, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, I think in the acceleration they were basically in the midfield. They were 4/10 off the top times with a 3.897. But still, yeah, you're kind of right. Kind of a safe approach in skidpad, but still very, very reliable.
And this is also a little bit the trade-off, right? I mean, we've seen Aachen. They started pretty quickly off the line, went off immediately. So, yeah, maybe the formula to success or the recipe to success could also be a rather conservative approach here.
Yes, totally agree. I mean, Stefan mentioned it. There are different approaches to it. And we will see if they have the same strategy for this, for different disciplines.
While Delft is getting staged, Deggendorf also passed us again. They, had some, well, not issues, but it took them some time in the acceleration yesterday. So first run, they had to press the emergency brakes. Second run, they were really, really close to the cones in the end, actually. But in the end, they got a valid run in, and let's see if they can repeat it today. All right, the push bar is removed. tractive system not on yet. Some last inspections going on at the car.
Stefan, what do you think they're just discussing about? I know it's just guessing, but what would you think?
Well, it's hard to tell. The official will definitely instruct the responsible to choose the right mission. Apparently, they do this with their steering wheel. Changing the missions is critical, so they use the Autocross mission here. What the car probably will indicate is that the self-checkup process is ready or still running, and afterwards they can actually activate the tractive system. They might have some system of observing what's in the car. A lot of teams use some indicators, whether their computers booted up, whether their lidar and other perception systems are running. Maybe there are some issues, hard to tell from here. But I think they will be ready soon. And oh, the blue flashing lights do not look good. This is indicating the AS emergency, so something went wrong in the checkup sequence.
Okay, so basically what you mean is also with the missions, you mean the disciplines? So
Exactly.
So the team will just in front of the discipline select which discipline they're actually driving.
That's correct. So you can prepare different approaches. You should prepare different approaches for different disciplines. And you have to choose the discipline somewhere on the car. And I think they do this with the steering wheel. A lot of teams use those displays in the steering wheel, which can be a very elegant way of displaying the mission that you want to choose. Regardless, it looks like they have a problem. And Pushpa is coming back to the car, so they will leave the dynamic area and make room for another car. We have a few other cars trying to prepare for this event. Maybe we can have a closer look.
Yeah. Stefan, would this count as a DNF for this run now? If they have to pull the car out?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it does not count as a run because they have not reached the ready state. So we did not have the yellow continuous lights. If those had have been there, then yes, that would have counted as a run.
Yeah. Yeah, we will see about that. Super unfortunate for Delft, definitely, that they couldn't attend the first run. And that means we are still waiting for the first successful run here. And in the meantime, until we have the next car staging, we will switch over to Kasia, who's got the winners of Formula SAE Netherlands 2025.
Hi, we are on the paddock with PGR Racing team from Poland, car number C88, combustion vehicles. You are after engineering design. Can you say something about this category?
Yeah, we just finished it. The judges were quite happy with our presentation. They said that we were well prepared, and the overall idea of our car is the way that we should continue. We are waiting for the rest of the feedback, because we got feedback from only a couple of the judges. And now we are preparing for the practice area. We are checking if the car is race ready state. The drivers are changing, and we are heading to the practice area. Later in the evening, we will be on the acceleration event.
Okay, thank you. How many cars do you have in total?
One single one, only one.
Yeah, in your team. This is your 8th car, 9th car.
This is our 8th car. This is evolution of 8th car, of the previous year car. We are currently working simultaneously on the electrical car.
Okay.
Only during right now it's on the design phase, actually.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to say something else? Do you want to say hello to Poland?
Polska górą.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kasia. Really interesting insight there from the team from Gdansk. They, as I mentioned earlier, they won the Formula SAE Netherlands earlier this season. Yeah, quite big there. And now we are waiting for the next car to get staged. But it seems like every team is taking some time here until they can get ready. So we will have a quick break until we are back.
So we are back. Stefan, is that your team?
Yes.
What are they training for?
I think they're just showing off their skills with the tire. And they did so yesterday in the evening because we had the official flunkyball tournament of FSCZ. There was a lot of spectators, a lot of fans. We had a very good time. Unfortunately, Fast Tube lost to Delft in the second round, but this was an absolutely packed match. A lot of penalty beers, a lot of hit cones. Everybody had a lot of fun, and so if you guys have not been to FSCZ and not experienced the official tournament, then you must check this out. In the meantime, Karlsruhe is getting ready for their first attempt in DV Autocross.
So, car racing. I think it's their second event this year. They've also been to Austria. Stefan, Austria is not a driverless event.
That's right. There's only manual competitions there.
How do you, as a team, approach this? I mean, you have a lot of technology that needs to be added, but obviously this adds weight, and this weight in the competition, for example, in this case, Austria, is absolutely not useful. So how do you approach that?
Well, there's a lot of teams that remove the systems. You don't have to. This Austria specifies that you can leave the systems in the car. But if you can, you probably remove those to save on some weight. The teams are, of course, working very hard to get the DV systems as light as possible. So that's the design phase and the manufacturing phase. But you can remove the systems. You gotta mention that especially the EBS system is highly integrated in the car. So that might be hard. Depends on the solution. And now we have a look at the Karlsruhe car. It is ready, staged, and the team is walking into a safe position to have the car started.
Okay, so car racing still at the starting line. Red lights are on.
Yes, we can see them in the background, looking at their laptop, probably receiving some telemetry data. So they now can see what the car is seeing. They are not pressing the go signal, so they might not be happy with the situation, but the car's in ready mode, so this will count as an attempt.
Do they have a time limit for it?
Usually there is a time limit to get into ready mode. After that, it's up to the official to decide. So we have one of, the car starts, and with high pace.
This looks fast.
Yes,
this looks fast.
Looks very fast, and they are making every corner so far. Oh, there's a cone.
That's very impressive. For their first run, as you mentioned, without mapping the track first.
Car comes to a stop. And transitions to finish. Congratulations, Karlsruhe. Great run. So I think this was a very impressive time that they set here. First participant to finish a lap, and with a very, very impressive time.
Yeah, super impressive. I mean, 22.95 seconds. We will see what it's worth today, but it looked super fast. And they were also super fast yesterday in skidpad. So we also expect this time to be...
Exactly. Karlsruhe are already competitors for years within the driverless competition. And I can remember from Formula Student Germany last year where their driverless skidpad was actually quicker than the one with the driver. You might think that this makes sense because you're just leaving out the 70 kilograms of human body. But of course, it's very hard to replicate the instincts of a driver. But they did great and could prove their competence in their software department. So we'll see which competitors actually are up to the Karlsruhe guys.
Okay, so we also have some interviews currently, so we switch over.
Hi, and now we are in the paddock with FastTube team from Germany. How are you? What's your plan today?
I'm fine, actually. We had Theo Berlin at FastTube today. And we did all the scrutinings yesterday, so we passed them luckily, and now we're heading to the brake test. And before that, there has been an issue with like data loggers here on FSCZ, so we have to disconnect CAN first, and then we can go into the brake test. And if that all works, and if we pass the brake test at the last one of the scrutineering task, then we're ready to push to acceleration and then the skid pad. That's all the plans for today, actually, what we want to achieve today. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe something about you, about your team. How many cars do you have in total?
So we're actually a pretty old team. So we started in 2006, I think. And we currently have like 16 cars. Some of them are still CV class, and now we're doing EV class as well. And we have actually a big of a storage area where all the cars are like lined up, and it's pretty cool to see like the evolution of the cars. And also there has been a lot of changes in rules, and then the aero package looks so different in some of the cars, and now it's like tighter and more refined and more refined. And also I think there has been a lot of improvements in our car, and it's always pretty cool in FSCZ.
Yeah, this is really amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, and we are back to track action. Chalmers on the track now. It seems like they cleared the pre-inspection with their aerodynamic devices. And yeah, I mean, I've, as mentioned, last day already. I've seen them last year actually at FSG, and they looked super, super quick there.
Yes, they were super, super quick there. They were also super, super quick yesterday and straight away from the beginning. So very excited to see what they're actually able to do in an unknown track.
Yeah, definitely a team that can set the tone where this is going time-wise. Now going for their first attempt. The time to beat, 22.95.
This Karlsruhe time could actually put some pressure on the teams because, of course, in Driverless, the motorsport motto, in order to finish first, you first have to finish, is so present, and you actually have to finish your run, which can lead to somewhat conservative approach. But, of course, you're competing to win. And therefore, this highly, highly competitive time that Karlsruhe set might put some pressure on those Chalmers guys to actually push the limits and to have their systems actually try to reach the best possible time.
Do you think that teams adjust their approach based on this?
I do believe that they do, yeah. Because, okay, the Chalmers car is in emergency mode, so it won't drive. They retrieve the car back, see what's wrong, and can come back for a second attempt. But coming back to the approach, I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of teams that want to win this competition and want to push the car to the limits. And in that case, they might switch their strategy.
And there we also saw the confirmation, E95 got a DNF. This is what we also already observed.
Coming back to what you said, Stefan, I really think so as well. We have so many teams so close together, as we've seen yesterday. I don't think that any of the teams that really want to win this DV Cup here is going conservative at all.
Yeah, who's also in line over there? Who can set a time next?
So we've seen Delft and now Chalmers pushing away. Aachen definitely still over there as well. We've seen Deggendorf pushing all the way. I'm not sure if they are the next in line. It seems like every car is just getting staged next to each other, and then whoever wants to can go first. This is also a little bit because we still have a lot of time left here in this TV session. Zurich also now pushed all the way back. I see more cars being staged here to the right of me on this next to the stage. So there's Milan and Trondheim here. And unfortunately, I also have bad news since I just passed the technical inspection tent. I saw the team from Prague, the local heroes, so to speak, last year's winners, back in the technical inspection with the accumulator. So I'm not super confident that they will make it in time for this DV session.
Yeah, what you mentioned is actually correct. So we see Deggendorf next in line, and see what they can do.
For Deggendorf, it's the first DV event of the year. They were in Austria at FSA and finished with a 12th overall position, 540 points there. We're quite happy with that. But DV, as we said already, is a completely different category, so we will see that.
Yeah, I think Fast Forest is one of the teams that can be an example for having a competition with driverless and without driverless components in the car. And we had a discussion yesterday about whether a team without a driver, so without basically like 60 to 80 kilograms less weight, is actually faster. And from what we've seen so far from Deggendorf, the approach is a little bit different. So in Austria, they were running in acceleration a 3.9. And yesterday, they were running a 5.5 in acceleration. So, Stefan, do you think we also see it the other way around, being faster with DV?
Well, we've already seen that at different competitions. We've had Dresden and Karlsruhe go quicker in acceleration and skidpad without the driver. So you definitely feel that the cars are lighter, but of course it's hard to push those limits without the instincts of a driver.
You're right, Stefan. Dresden, definitely a team coming to mind there. They were, well, almost dominating last year at FSG, all the way till the endurance and the autonomous track drive. They set tone in skidpad and acceleration there, taking home both the wins, but couldn't finish overall, and so didn't take home the overall win.
Okay, let's see. They are at the starting line. Let's see their approach. Looks like some last checks already completed.
I don't see anything flashing yet. And the team coming back to the car, discussing with the scrutineer, the track marshal.
Okay, I see a thumbs up from the guy with the laptop. So
that's always a good sign. You know,
exactly,
the guy with the
yeah.
laptop giving you a thumbs up. That's the sign you want to see when you're going for DV. It seems to be taking quite long, though.
But it also looked like they were selecting the discipline also on the steering wheel.
Yeah, we were able to see the teams having somewhat of a track walk earlier as well. So they all went down, measured the track. Stefan, do you think after they've measured the track that some teams start coding and somewhat programming this into their maps as well?
Not the track itself, but you can take rough measurements on the curve radii or what's the layout. So you can definitely use the information to tune your system. You probably won't try to replicate the track in any kind of way. That's usually not how the systems work. You are not allowed to bring any electronic devices to the track walk. You can't have a video or something because you could just feed that into your pipeline of perception. So just you and the track, and you can use the information that you gathered to actually have some parameters tuned. And yes, the teams do use this information to adjust.
Yeah, now it's almost time to go for Deggendorf here. The team members leaving the car here, taking a safe distance. Car's being left alone. I still don't see anything flashing yet, but there we go. There we go. Off to a rather quick start here. Doing well so far. Also nailed the tight corner here.
Yeah, one cone. I think one cone flipped over.
Seems like it's slowing down a little bit here. Oh! Oh, that's super, super unfortunate. The car going off track at the very end.
But I think we see the continuous blue light, so the car is in finished mode. I think the two orange cones count as cones, but it seems like this could be a valid run.
Yeah, I mean, they went in between the light detection, the transponder detection. So,
do we have a time?
This should count. It's actually a phenomenon that we've seen quite some time, or quite often. Cars hitting, sometimes driverless cars, sometimes even manual cars, hitting the timekeeping equipment. So luckily they didn't hit it here.
Regardless, very impressive run. The Deggendorf team, congratulations to those. But I would be highly interested of actually knowing the time.
What do you expect? Do you think that was faster than car racing or slightly slower?
Looked a little bit slower than Karlsruhe.
Teams pushing away. And the next car is already getting ready for the track drive. E33 Zurich, who won the skid pad yesterday, or finished first in the skid pad with the best time at the very, very end of the competition. They were the third to last car. And yeah, as Christian mentioned earlier already, they started off setting rather conservative times as first, but with their second run in acceleration and skid pad afterwards, they really, stepped it up a little bit and are right in the mix for the maximized points here.
Yeah, and I think they are one of the top contenders. I mean, the goal is obviously here to be minimum top 3. And they won FSG last year in the driverless and electric competition. So we expect like a very, very low time from them. Exactly,
not just FSG, but also FSE with both cars. Actually, the first team to win both categories and 2 events in one season. Super impressive here. So, I mean, we didn't speak to them personally yet, but I think it's safe to assume they're here for one goal and one goal only. super interesting about Zurich as well. I mean, after successful season like last year, I assume lots of their team members left the team, you know, on the high. So what we heard is that the current first-year team member percentage in the team is 90%, which is yeah, lots for a Formula student team. And I believe, yeah, this is something that every team has to deal with, sort of, you know, transferring that knowledge to the next generation. And super, super crucial for long-term success in Formula student.
Yeah, 90% seems quite high.
That's crazy high.
It's crazy, yeah.
But I think Zurich has a very unique approach to their team members and their structure, because they have the project somewhat integrated into their core studies. So they get awarded some credit points, and this is why their team is super, super focused and intense. So they spend a lot of time in the workshop working on the car, getting those right. This is somewhat different to other teams' approaches where you spend years with the project. Those guys usually do it for 1 year, and the second one very intensely.
So back to the track. Zurich seems to be ready at the starting line. Lights
yeah,
are on.
red lights flashing.
Did they hit the timekeeping?
They did, yeah. Just as we mentioned before, they took out the timekeeping. This sucks, honestly. This really sucks because now they need to readjust the timekeeping to make it, yeah, equal chances for all the teams. It looked quite similar to what Aachen was doing. The car from Aachen was doing, just missing out on the first gate there. And yeah, but also showcases again that they definitely did not go easy at all. So the start they got away from was super, super quick again.
Yeah, I mean, there was one big difference, and I think there was the commitment to the start, where Zurich was just, it looked like it was aiming for the timekeeping. but yeah, let's see how long it takes actually for the organizers to rebuild it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think until we are back with action on the track, we will have a quick break, and we will talk to you in a bit. Yeah, as you can see, we got a new feature as well here, displaying a couple comments from the stream's live chat. Seems like there's a lot of Deggendorf fans here who are supporting their team, E44. We still haven't actually seen a time from them yet, Stefan.
I was asking for the time and still haven't received it. Okay, we're starting to see some action. There's a lot of cars preparing for the autocross. A lot of laptops checking the systems, a lot of guys working on the car, but it's hard to figure out what they're actually doing.
Yeah, but it seems like since E97 seems to be ready to tackle the autocross, the timekeeping has been fixed, I hope.
Awesome. Props to the production team there.
And now we even got the Fastsaurus team themselves mentioning probably some people from their team, from their pavilion. I don't know if they're in the camp or standing over there, but yeah. With Schweinfurt and also Milan pushing towards the autocross, I think we've seen all of the teams that also participated last day, on their way to tackle the track.
Milan already did some great runs in the testing area yesterday. Unfortunately, they couldn't have set a valid time for this acceleration or skid pad event. So we're eager to see their autocross run in a few minutes.
Yeah, but it shows again how hard this DV really is. I mean, we've got 10 teams now that are going to, or that are staged over there. But overall, I mean, we got, I think, 24 teams originally signed up for the DV Cup. Some teams dropping out before the competition, some teams dropping out on the competition by not passing scrutineering in time, or by maybe passing it just too late to not be able to test. So it's always really, really tough to get it working.
Yes, you get an extra day of scrutineering, so you already start on Monday with the DV teams to give them a head start. But nevertheless, there's a lot of points to check. The cars are super complex, and you have to ensure that the systems remain safe. So there are a lot of issues that could evolve.
Yeah, and I think this is also really hard sometimes for teams, to make that decision to abandon DV in favor of, their success in EV themselves. So I've heard from a couple teams that had so many issues with DV that was just costing them too much time in the technical inspection. They couldn't really get their technical inspections for the EV competition done. And this is just a super, super tough decision for a team that has been working on this for an entire year. And I believe, Stefan, this is a similar position that you were in exactly 1 year ago, right?
Exactly. For Miss June, as a project management competition, you have to make decisions during the season, on the event, all the time. And the driverless systems, especially integrated into the EV car, just add a whole layer of complexity. The cars are sophisticated even with the driver, and the extra layer just takes a lot of development time, a lot of testing time, and of course, more time to be prepared for scrutineering. We were in the same situation of not being prepared that good. So at some point you have to make a decision whether you're going to drive with their system or not.
Yeah, super, super hard decision. I can imagine that. But now let's look over to the track again. We got E97 from Schweinfurt at the starting line. I heard that there was a little bit of an issue actually in the pits with them, but yeah, it seems like they are back. So looking forward to see what they are doing. I mean, they came rather late compared to some other teams, but now are apparently ahead of the queue.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yesterday they only set a time in acceleration. So it also looks like they didn't really were ready to also compete in the skid pad.
Yeah, still some discussion going on. We've seen this multiple times, right, with teams discussing with officials, going through the procedures to get this car started. And I think, yeah, to come back to your point from earlier, Stefan, I think it's worth mentioning again that very recently the DV systems were integrated into new cars. And this added complexity to a whole different level, because previously you could we can actually see the Fast Tube team here being happy to be on track, cheering into the camera, cheering onto the commentators as well. Thank you for that. But yeah, the complexity of DV cars, developing an EV and a DV car within 1 year is definitely higher than how it previously was when DV cars were developed on, or DV systems were developed on old cars.
Yes, but this is a new part of the challenge, introduced in 22 when the rules were changed for the Formula SAE in Germany, encouraging to have those integrated cars having your DV system on your brand new EV race car. You have to make decisions there, trying to invest time properly, trying to find out what to test, where to find the performance, and setting your own targets for the competition.
Yeah, and Stefan, I think also the cars look quite differently, right? I mean, in the past we saw a lot of teams retrofitting the system on old cars, also removing things like aerodynamics, because they're just too prominent in front of the car and hitting cones. So would you also say that the challenge got a little bit harder?
Harder indeed. I mean, you can make use of your... Okay, we see the car going. Very fast. They're taking the turns.
There we see the first cone.
Yeah. Okay, it's stuck under the car. Oh, there's another one.
I think the cone is out though. Yeah, it's left on track. Car's still going though. We've already mentioned this yesterday. Super impressive. Cars hitting cones, still going. There's another one.
But they keep going in the right direction, and they almost finished the run. This is
They did. And also, they didn't hit anything else, unlike Deggendorf, who finished at the end. But yeah, applause for
congratulations
Schweinfurt finishing their first autocross run here, with just a little bit under an hour to go here in the driverless autocross.
So, we still don't have a time. We're also still waiting for a time from earlier. So, but Jonas, what do you think? How did it look?
It looked rather quick. I think on the same pace around as Deggendorf. Both teams hit a couple cones, so it will be dependent on that. Who hit less in this case? I think Schweinfurt maybe took one cone more. There we got the times
there
actually.
We have the times.
Yeah. So Karlsruhe is still first, 22.95 seconds. With a little bit of a distance, Fast Forest from Deggendorf, E44, second place right now, 28.99, and Mainfranken Racing from Schweinfurt, 31.46, another 3 seconds behind that. All of the teams still got another run left, so they can all improve, maybe hit less cones the next time, and go for a better time. Yeah, and now I just heard that Kasia has got another interview partner, so we will switch over to her.
We are now with the main partner from Formula Student Czech, in the Skoda launch. Do you want to say something about your company and why did you decide to support Formula Student Czech?
All right, thank you. Well, good morning. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for coming. We are Škoda, and obviously, Formula Czech, this is where the engineers, where the brains are. So we like to support Formula students, and we've been doing that for many, many years now. So today, this year, what you can see at our stand, of course, is the beautiful race car Škoda Fabia. Apart from that, you might get to see most of our lineup, and we have our colleagues, trainees, interns that will be able to tell you a lot about all those cars, their equipment, engines, and all that jazz. Tomorrow, if you come along, starting in the morning, 9 o'clock, we will be serving coffee from this special Škoda Elrock coffee car. So basically, I'll just show you. We will have a boot opened, and there is going to be a coffee machine, so you can grab some coffee if you wish. Anyway, already today, we just missed there is a fridge full of drinks, so come along. We make you scan a QR code, you answer a few questions, 3 questions. If you get 3 right, you get a free drink or whatever there is in the fridge. Apart from that, if you have spare time, if you get a team of 4 people, come along. Just create the name of your team and you will play games. We have 4 different games. So right here behind the cameraman, sorry to push you around. This is one of the games where you basically roll a tire and you hit as many bottles as you can to grab some points. We play pantomime over there, again to gain some points. And we play with our Kodiak, and we have a physical game, which is the logistics of Škoda. And you collect points. The winning team gets a special prize on Saturday evening, 4 Škoda scooters, 4 Škoda sleeping bags, 4 Škoda coats, so something worth to play for. And if you create a team and come playing, you get this fantastic hat, which everyone last year was craving for, so we can, many of them, so if you come along, start playing, you can have one of those beautiful hats. So come along, looking forward to seeing you here.
Thank you, Kasia. And that's also something that really intrigued us over here. The Škoda Challenge, I think first introduced in, 2019 or 2021.
Yeah, I think I first saw it in 2021.
Yeah, and
but it got quite serious in a very short amount of time.
It got super serious. As we just heard, there's some nice prizes to be won there, and just 4 quick games. And our team, we've participated for quite some time. I personally went for it, I think 3 times or so. Just came short the first 2 times of the big win, but fortunately I was able to win the Škoda Challenge with my team just last year, and I'm still sleeping in that Škoda sleeping bag. Yeah, in the meantime, we saw Delft lining up to attempt, their first attempt actually. I mean, they've been there before, but just pushing back the car. So I guess there's still some issue. And I also believe that now that time is getting shorter till the end, that the officials are also telling the teams to, pick up the pace a little bit. They won't have as much time to stage anymore because everyone wants a fair chance at their runs. And unlike yesterday, where we extended the DV, skidpad and acceleration from 6 p.m. to 6:40 or so, I think was when the last cars were going, so 40 minutes extension. This will not happen today, or is very unlikely to happen today, because it's lunchtime. Officials want to go for lunch, and afterwards we've got even more action on track. So it's got to be quick now, and that's also why the next car is already in track, E63 from Trondheim.
Yeah, E63 on Trondheim. They actually have also the goal to win this competition. So we are very excited to see how they can perform with a completely new developed driverless pipeline. So completely software what got rewritten from last year to this year. And they were also quite successful in the past, Jonas, right?
Yeah, 100%. So it's also their first time here in Czech Republic. They put a lot of testing onto the car. We've heard around almost 100 test kilometers just DV, then another 550 kilometers, and normal or manual driving. So they're definitely super well prepared. Unfortunately, it didn't go too well for them at FSA. They had some issues there, some electrical issues, if I remember correctly. So the car wasn't performing at its peak. But then again, there was also manual driving. So we can't really judge them based on that, what they are going to perform here in the DV section.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, the problems for FS Austria, they just occurred, I heard, 1 week before the competition. So very unfortunate. As you mentioned, they had 500, 600 kilometers on the car already, which only is achievable if your car is reliable to that point. But then, unfortunately, yeah, it turned around in a very rather short time. But still, we had a also very interesting story yesterday. We heard from them. So in the rain test, they actually destroyed their LiDAR system. And they got one, from Aachen team. So also a huge shout out to them. So this is kind of shows also the spirit of Formula Student, right, Stefan?
Absolutely. Camaraderie, helping each other out is so important for the competition. And by the way, you were talking about the problems that Trondheim had, but nevertheless, I think they set the fastest skid pad time yesterday. So impressive performance, and I think it's a great lookout for what this car is able to achieve. So I'm highly excited to see their first autocross attempt.
Yeah, you're actually right, Stefan. That was the very, very last run yesterday. So just after AMZ set their time, it was, destroyed again. Their hopes of winning the skidpad event there. Trondheim beat them in the end. We also see the team members from Delft coming back from the track drive. I don't know if this is a good sign, though, considering that their car is still back there, hopefully going for the autocross run.
That's right. They still have an hour left, so there is some time to make adjustments and come back later. So maybe those team members will return. Trondheim's getting ready, and I think they'll start the run shortly.
Yeah, Trondheim, as mentioned, super ambitious team. Their goal that they already had quite early in the season was definitely finish top 3 in all DV categories. They plan to have 350 test kilometers, which they definitely exceeded. Always super nice to see that. Car starts blinking, and there we go. Off to a little bit of a slower start compared to, well, what we've seen from Aachen and Zurich, but the car's going, swerving a little bit there, but didn't hit any cones. There we go, the first cone is hit. Car's still going though. Slowing down a lot and then accelerating again just before the tight turn. No more cones hit as far as I can see, and the car passes the finish line. First run from Trondheim here. And it seems successful. The car came to a stop. EBS light isn't on. And now let's wait for the time. I suspect this could be a top 3 time, definitely.
Yeah, very close top 3 time, Jonas. But still, top 3 is top 3, right? 30.63 seconds.
Yeah, this puts them into 3rd place right now, time-wise at least. So Fast Forest was slightly faster, but regarding hit cones, I believe they got the edge compared to Fast Forest. So Fast Forest took like, I don't know, we didn't really see it, but I think it was like 8 cones or so in the end. And it's 2 seconds per cone hit, so they'll probably end up on 3rd place for now. And Revolve, therefore, going into 2nd position here.
Yeah, so they put themselves in a good spot for the rest of the competition also, right?
Yeah, I mean, simply finishing all disciplines is already putting you in a good spot here. I mean, we mentioned a couple times already what of an achievement it is to get through all the scrutineerings and then being on time for all the competitions, setting a competitive lap time. So definitely huge respect for that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see how difficult it is to actually get the car running. And then to run reliable a lap, that's a complete different story as we've seen today. So huge respect to the team.
Yeah. And I mean, we've also seen a different approach here compared to the teams from Zurich and Aachen before, who went off super quickly off the line directly, right? Both, unfortunately, didn't even pass the timekeeping at the beginning. And therefore got DNF'd in their first autocross run. Is that also something that maybe Trondheim looked at and told, and thought, we're going to take it a little more conservative in the first run, get a time in. Maybe some teams won't even be able to set a run here, and therefore go for a quicker run afterwards?
I could absolutely imagine that, yeah. I mean, we had the discussion earlier. There are teams actually doing this, looking at it, and then seeing, the competition is quite close, so we need to push more, or we can be quite conservative. And maybe we will see in the second run. I expect them to start, obviously, within the next 1 hour. We only have 15 minutes left, so to get the second run in.
Yeah, that's right. With the driverless disciplines especially, you have to get those valid runs in. Because if you just get in DNF, there's no points in that. So maybe sometimes the conservative approach might be the better one. On the other hand, all of those teams are here to win, and they know that the competition is very, very high, which might put some pressure on the decision makers in the team.
Yeah, but what would you do in the case of Zurich and Aachen now? You come here with the goal to win this competition. You got you basically burned your first run now. You went, all in or nothing, which is probably their philosophy here. But what do you do for the second run now? Do you go all in again, or do you take it a little safer now?
In the end, it's up to the teams, and if they're aiming for the overall win, maybe you do not have to win every discipline. Maybe you take some safe points, because the point scoring with the driverless disciplines is a little bit different than the manual ones, so the calculation formulas are different. Being slow, the car is going.
Stefan, sorry to interrupt you here, but we got action on the track as Sharma's going.
And they're looking very fast. They're looking very, very fast.
Very clean run so far.
Yeah, I didn't see a cone yet.
Also around the hairpin. You mentioned earlier, slow turns are always an issue. And they came to a clean stop there.
Wow.
It's the first run for Chalmers from Göteborg finished. Congrats to them. They were the first team actually in the dynamic area this morning. Have been working on the car for quite some time. They were staged once, pulled the car back, and now finally got their first run in. And looking at how the car looked on track, I think this could challenge almost K Racing for first place here.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, the whole performance over the days we had so far is very, very impressive. Also, this first run, same approach as I had yesterday, just straight going forward, like going for the fastest time. Let's maybe see if they can even increase it.
Yes.
Decrease it, of course.
Yesterday they were struggling a lot with the aero boxes. I hope they fixed that for today. This might be checked in the post-inspection. We'll see about that. I think they might have figured out a solution.
Stream is asking for more pictures of the commentators. Thank you for that. But the cars are also super nice. Seeing them on track. So
also
maybe we should focus on that for now. And now our question from earlier is going to be answered. Aachen, a team that went off super quickly off the line and then, didn't even make it to the finish, to the start-finish. So we will see. We will see how they approach their second run, their second and final run now. If they will take a little more conservative or if they will push it to the limit. Stefan, can you maybe explain on what the guy that is lifting up the car right now has on his back?
Oh yeah, that's the RES antenna. So he's in charge of this autonomous system. The antenna is in contact with the car always, and it can trigger the brake system if there's an emergency situation. So when the car goes off track, what we've seen already earlier today, the emergency switch is pressed and the brake system is triggered. So this is how we as a competition ensure the safety of those cars. Right now they're preparing the car. They staged this very intensely. They lifted up the car, got it right to face the timekeeping equipment. Last adjustments, maybe cleaning the tires, maybe having a look at the telemetry data on the laptop, and then getting the go from your guys.
Do you think it has an influence on what angle they place their car at compared or relative to the start-finish line? Because we see them trying to straighten it out as much as possible here, which I don't know if that was the case in their first run.
Well, hard to tell. This might have been the reason why they took the wrong turn at the start. But usually it shouldn't make that much of a difference. Of course, the system sees the track, the system knows the path that it wants to take, and then it's up to the steering controller to actually find the way. So generally, I would say it's not that important, but in the particular case, it's very hard to tell.
Stefan, what are the options you actually have to adjust something? Because you obviously, as a team, you don't have much time between the runs. What actually can you change?
Well, this of course highly depends on the software that the teams are using and approaching, but there's one factor that is often used as the look-ahead distance, pretty much where you're aiming at. If you're looking right at the tip of your toes to control your car.
Sorry, Stefan, I need to interrupt you again because Aachen is on the way, this time successfully getting over the start-finish line. It looks like they're taking it slightly slower than before.
So our prediction might have been right, so they went for the conservative route. Still, they're making the turns, no cones so far.
Yeah, run is looking clean. And there we, just as I jinxed it, there's one cone at the very, very end. But the car came to a stop past the finish line, and it seems like this will be a valid run for Aachen, as long as they also pass the post-inspection. In the meantime, we still haven't seen the time from Chalmers, unfortunately, so we still can't tell what time they're actually on. I think Aachen was a little bit slower though than Chalmers, so Chalmers definitely competing with K Racing here, and Aachen is going to be somewhere around the E44 Fast Forest or E63 Revolve NTNU level.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the story will be a little bit different when you count in the cones, I think. This will switch some places around, but yeah, also very, very solid run.
In the meantime, Milan pushing in. Also this morning they've been on the test track here, so they really maximized their time to get their car prepared and now going for the first run. It looked clean when they were on the testing track, but then again, it's a completely different track than what they're actually doing on the competition, on the track, and we will see what they can do. Wind is also picking up a little bit. But at the same time, the temperatures are rising. And we mentioned earlier already that track evolution could play a factor here. Maybe not too much in DV, but definitely more this afternoon as well with the manual cars coming up. 20 degrees now, but we are still expecting 29 today. Milan, unfortunately, couldn't make it through the acceleration yesterday, but got a skid pad run in yesterday with a time of 5.76 on the right and 6.26 on the left. So average something around 6 seconds. Yeah, in the midfield a little bit. So let's see if they can improve here in the track drive and the autocross.
Yeah, Jonas, we were speculating earlier because we've seen yesterday very, very close times in acceleration and in skid pad. We haven't seen it so far today. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, this might actually be a question for Stefan, but as he mentioned earlier, you know, skid pad and acceleration is the same on every single event in testing. The only thing that maybe changes is the environmental conditions, so the temperature, the wind, and stuff like that. But you can actually hard code it apparently quite well. And that is definitely not the case with the autocross or the track drive. The track changes every time, and this poses the biggest challenge also for the teams to, get ready for a new track and just perform as good as possible in an unknown environment.
Exactly. So the autocross and track drive events, they are the real deals. You don't know the track. You have, you have to figure out what your car can do, what are the limits of your car, especially if you're pushing not only for finishing this event, but actually getting in some very good times. A lot of those teams use models to simulate the car and actually have a great understanding of how the car is behaving, how their control systems are behaving. And then, of course, it takes some courage to push it to the limits. You want to finish your run, but still have it as quick as possible. So there's always a trade-off when designing the system.
The lights for Milan now on, and off they go. The start line. But here, what we've seen a couple times today already happened again. Just barely passing over the start line, Milan takes a right there and just goes off. It seems like some teams are really struggling with the get-go right away. Like once the cars are running, they are running, but at the start, they seem to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, we've seen, I think, 3 cars now doing that. Basically, exactly the same thing. Always to the right also.
True.
And also hitting basically the cones or the timekeeping.
This is one of the reasons why the guy with a laptop always gives the thumbs up. They have an idea of what will happen at the start. They, of course, can't influence the car or something. You can't actually send data to the car, but you're allowed to receive data, and you're allowed to make sure the car is in a safe position to start. So this is why we see a lot of tire cleaning, a lot of preparation, while the cars are being checked, the sensors are checked, and the guy with a laptop says that the car is probably heading into the right direction.
Super, super interesting, yeah. So Milan pushing off the course now. Interesting to see who will be the next one. We're still missing out sometimes here from Chalmers. And also from Aachen. In the meantime, we also saw Delft pushing the car back to the practice area here. Maybe they're trying to take advantage of more attempts that they can do here, and they're scared of wasting an attempt in their autocross session here. Team members also came back, and also Karlsruhe, who are right now the leaders with a 22.95, are pushing back to the track drive, to the autocross with their car.
Just a minute ago, the car of Dresden passed our stage and made its way to the autocross event. Those guys have always been highly anticipated when it comes to driverless. Last year's Formula Student Germany acceleration and skid pad winners. They have not been ready yesterday to go for those events, but maybe we'll see them going on the autocross event today.
And now we also got the timing from Chalmers, 25.49 seconds, which puts them into P2.
Yeah, not just Chalmers, Christian, also Aachen with 30.08. we were actually quite right with our estimates on where they land. So super close, but it also puts in perspective again how good that time from K Racing really was. 22.95 seconds, almost 3 seconds faster than second place here, and they still got one more run to go. So I mean, what do they do now, right? They already got a really solid first run in here. Do you just go all in now?
I mean, they said the first time of the day with an impressive leading right now. So yes, they might have a look at the data, tune the systems, and they then use everything they have.
First, it's E44 from Deggendorf again, right now in P3, but we saw them, well, hitting a couple cones in their first run. We didn't actually count them, but I think it was around 8 to 10. So they are going to have a lot of time added to their current run, and yeah, just repeating their run with the same time, but less cones, or ideally no cones, would already set them in a very, very good position. So also we probably need to mention that they went off course at the very end, which adds even more time. Last checks being done here. We've seen the procedure already. Proving to the official that everything is safe. And now we're waiting for the thumbs up from the guy with the laptop. Everybody left the car now. E44 seems to be almost ready. And there we go. Off to a clean start. No cones as far as I can see right at the get-go. Let's see how they perform in the corners. It's looking better than their first run. There was definitely one cone. Let's see if they can make it to the stop after the finish line, if they can get that far.
It looks quick. Oh, and there's...
They did the same thing again. Crazy, crazy. So the run itself looked super, super clean. They hit one cone. It also seemed a little faster than the first one. But right at the finish line, they take out the cones from the start-finish line and went off track. So they didn't stop on the track. This is going to, well, cost them dearly. Maybe even a podium there.
Yeah, this is definitely very unfortunate. I mean, when you spend so much time changing something and then you have the same result, I can imagine it's quite, it's quite frustrating. But still, I mean, the run itself was very, very good.
Yeah, overall, it's definitely going to be an improvement. Less cones. It looked a little bit quicker as well. We will get the time, hopefully, somewhat soon. And I'm sure that the next car is almost ready to go on track. Also, the team from Tallinn now pushing all the way down. As mentioned yesterday, it's a long walk, very long walk. So you don't want to be too late for that. and it seems like the next team could be Aachen. Oh no, sorry, it's not Aachen. Aachen is pushing back to the pits since they finished 2 of their autocross runs. And as far as I can see, the second run from Fast Forest was slower, and I think, yeah, slightly slower there. But considering that they didn't hit many cones, it could be their quicker run after all, or their counted run.
Yes, so we see currently a lot of cars in the waiting area, not really committing to a run yet, or to the second run yet. So yeah, we can't really tell at the moment who will go for the maybe first run or even second run. But now it looks like Dresden is moving.
Yeah, again, this is a very tough choice. Like you need to get running as soon as possible. There won't be an extension as far as we know this time. And looking at how long it sometimes takes to get everything ready, I believe getting a run in now is the safe choice here.
I totally agree. We have 30 minutes left on this discipline, so time is actually very tight.
And as you have already seen, the driverless staging process takes time. Dresden right now entered the pre-inspection area. You should never underestimate on how long this process takes. There's a few checks that are performed on the car before the cars are allowed to drive. Then you have the staging, and if you're the last one in queue, I don't know if you're going to drive today. So don't underestimate how little time is left until the end of this event.
Yeah, Stefan, you just mentioned the pre-inspection. That was an issue for quite a few teams yesterday who took quite a long time just here under the bridge, right next to the stage. Taking some time to get their stuff checked and also to fix it in the end. Most notably, they check the aero boxes, the ground clearance, the ride height can be adjusted afterwards if it doesn't fit. And yeah, I think overall it's for the teams quite a bit of an advantage as well that they, did the DV before. They know what's coming in the pre-inspection. So later on for the EVs, they just know what's being done and what they need to prepare for.
Well, that is correct, but the inspections are up to the scrutineers. So they figure out what they want to do in the morning usually. So they perform the same checks on every car, which are always different checks so that the team can't really prepare ahead of time. Of course, if they've already been at that day, they know what is going to be checked. They can ask other teams, but you have to come with a car that is fully prepared, that is able to fulfill every rule there is, and the scrutineers decide in the morning what checks to perform. Usually it's a mixture of electrical and mechanical checks, so the aero boxes yesterday, of course, is a classic mechanical check. IMD checks are usual. This is to check that the insulation monitoring device, which pretty much monitors the safety of the battery. This is still working. Super important to ensure driver safety, even though we are competing driverless today.
Yeah, more team members from TU Delft here on the camera, while their car is on the testing deck right now. But I can see a driver in there, so it seems like they abandoned the autocross for now and are preparing for the manual disciplines. Just finished their run here. And Schweinfurt E97 is pushing towards the starting line. They got a time in already, 31 seconds. It looked, yeah, as a rather conservative run as well. They took a couple cones, so they're definitely trying to improve their run here.
Yeah, I mean, they're not super far off Trondheim. It's basically 1 second they're missing, and I think this is something that they can achieve, definitely.
Schweinfurt now lining up. First team members leaving the car. And we also see Hamburg, to the relief of many, also people in the stream, pushing their car towards the starting line. And they're pushing quickly. They know time is tight here, so they want to get this done quickly. But I believe in driverless it's the same as in the manual disciplines, that teams who haven't done a run yet or go for their first run, they're actually, you know, they get priority compared to the others. They're going for a second run here. But yeah, for Hamburg, it was especially important that they are the best team in Hamburg, especially in DV. I haven't seen the Hawks practice in the DV yet, so they, as soon as they are on the starting line, they probably won that one already.
Yes.
But now let's focus on Schweinfurt first.
Yes.
Off they go. Camera following them as well. It definitely looks quicker than their first run from the outside. Also no cone yet. Passing the chicane rather cleanly. Clean hairpin there. Still no cones. And also through the finish line. Congratulations to Schweinfurt. I think this will be an improved time. And also no cones this time. So this could definitely help them to jump up a couple positions.
Yeah, no cones. That's a big factor.
Yeah, looking at these times, Christian, with the third place just being a little over 2 seconds ahead of Schweinfurt, if they improve a little bit here, they could still get on the podium, I believe, which they're definitely no strangers to. They've been on the podium here in the DV Cup in multiple disciplines last year. So it will be really nice to see them on the podium again later on.
Yeah, I mean, between the third place and the sixth place, we basically have 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, and that's definitely the area where it really comes down to the cones.
But this also puts a little bit the KA racing time into perspective. They are so much faster at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean, there's still a couple teams coming. AMZ now pushing in for their second run, but they're in the same dilemma as Aachen was. So they burned their first run, basically going straight off the course. So it will be interesting to see their approach now, whether they will take it more conservative to get a time in, to get some points here at least, or if they will go all in. For K racing, I think it's to mention that, or we mentioned earlier, that the acceleration times were super close, especially at the top. But K racing was around 0.3 off, which isn't going to cost them too many points. But AMZ and a couple other teams, they are definitely a little ahead of them. They passed us yesterday saying that they are happy for now with the points that they've achieved. And it seems like they were just super confident as well in their performances that they can achieve in the autocross and track drive. And looking at the time, their plan seems to be paying off for now.
Yeah, I think it was absolutely right. Maybe they, I assume they already know their potential, and they definitely delivered.
And we also shouldn't forget that they still have a second run left here. So they can still improve their time. And just how the Formula student works, you know, you get points based on your time compared to the time of the fastest team. They can take points off of every other team if they improve here.
Yeah, and also worth mentioning that what counts in this formula is the corrected time. So what we see in the stream is basically the time that they were actually driving, but cones gives you penalty seconds. So each cone, I think 2 seconds here. So hitting 2 cones is basically a +4 seconds and will put you from P1 to P3 easily.
While Zurich is lining up, we can see the time from Schweinfurt that came in. It's a 31.4, and Christian, we didn't notice it right away when the time came on because it was almost identical to their first time.
Yeah, it was 600th different, so didn't change position, but yeah, a slight improvement.
And again, no cones.
And again, no cones. That's correct.
Zurich now about to start. This is super dense now.
Yeah, can't imagine how tense actually. Oh, and they did the same thing again.
Oh. Super unfortunate for Zurich there. In their second attempt, also going off course right before the starting line. Yeah, that's super unfortunate for them, Christian. I mean, this also means that they won't get any points for this discipline, and in the result lose more points compared to the competitors.
Yeah, that's very sad to see. I mean, it was always. I mean, we were very interested in what they're actually capable of doing here, and I mean, we've seen it yesterday. They are. Yeah, one of the top contenders actually. So yeah, it's very sad that they couldn't set a time.
Yeah, and now they really need to make up for it as well in the track drive later on. So they only got 10 laps there to catch up that much time in points that they lost now, which will be a really tough task, especially considering that car racing still got a run left here. Super unfortunate for them, and it could already put them into a really bad spot considering that they want to win this DV Cup here. Tallinn now pushing back, or going for the first run actually, the track drive and the autocross. It took them quite some time today to get ready. I also didn't see them on test tracks, so maybe they were just preparing some stuff, getting ready for the track drive, for the autocross. And
yeah, that's actually a good question, because maybe we need to find out if they actually had a problem.
Yeah.
because it's 15 minutes left and they're just queuing up. So it's possible, obviously, to set a time now, but yeah, as you mentioned, very late.
But they definitely weren't the only team. There's more teams to come that we haven't seen on track yet. Hamburg also all the way back, and then Dresden, who we've seen in the dynamic area for the first time just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, that will be also very interesting to see. I mean, we haven't really seen them yesterday, so...
Yeah. I think for every fan of the Formula student Dresden, we know the car's potential. They showcased it last year in Germany, just coming short by not finishing the track drive in the end. But we know that they're capable of setting really, really good lap times in DV as well as in EV.
And now what we also see, because we are a little bit, we get some noise from the side, because some of the combustion cars are in the testing area, and it looks like they're practicing also acceleration, so a lot of bangs.
Christian, how's that for you? I mean, you come mostly from combustion development in Formula SAE, and you developed a couple combustion cars. And how is that for you? Is that emotion-wise when you hear these combustion cars right next to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we heard it also yesterday from a couple of team members from different teams. Combustion is a little bit different. You have a little bit more, let's say, emotion, and but it's not necessarily better or worse. I would say it's just different. This is also what we hear from, for example, High-Speed Karlsruhe. They switched last year to electric. So, yeah, but to be honest, I really like the sound.
Yeah.
Like the engine's warming up before the finals in endurance is always, it always gives you goosebumps.
Exactly. Tallinn now on the starting line, going for the first run in the Autocross. Lights on, and there we go. 1, 2 cones there on the right side.
Still on track.
More on the other side, and now we got to stop the car. Yeah, they came a little further here, but it just seemed like the car didn't really steer at all. It just went straight onto the grass. Good decision by the team to stop the car just in time, so it doesn't hit the grass and damage anything else potentially. But yeah, super unfortunate, especially regarding now. We only got like 10 minutes left now in the session. And I'm not sure that they will be able to go for another attempt, especially considering that they need to make some changes to be able to finish the Autocross here.
Yeah, and the question remains whether their minimal steering input will make it through the track drive in the afternoon today. Because they probably won't have another go at this discipline, but of course we have the afternoon where they might come back with some changes to either the software, probably the software, and not the hardware system of the car. So they retrieve the car, get it back, and make the track free for the next competitor, which might be Dresden.
Yeah, but for Tallinn, I mean, this was also very, very important. To get the run in that late now gives you a huge learning also for the track drive later, right?
That's correct. I'm not entirely sure whether the track will be different, but you can definitely get those experiences in. That's super, super important for the team. See where the problems might originate from. And as you were already mentioning, the minimal steering input, you got to find the reason for that, and you got to find where in your software this originates from, and then you can, of course, tackle that and maybe have a successful track drive today in the afternoon.
Yeah, hopefully they can get some learnings out of it in the next 2 hours until track drive starts.
today in the afternoon, there's going to be a time management factor because we'll start the manual disciplines as well. So there will be a lot more cars queuing for the manual acceleration and skid pad. So especially the driverless teams, they got to decide when to take the track drive, when to go for the acceleration, how to use the evolving track in the afternoon. And I think we'll see some interesting strategic decisions of the teams there.
Yeah, absolutely agree. We mentioned it a couple of times today already, but the weather is only getting better and better and better. The track is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. So, yeah, especially for skid pad with the dusty track that Jonas also mentioned, and acceleration, I think track evolution is a big factor here in Czech.
On screen right now, Tio Bialystok from Poland, C10, last year's winner in the CV category. We spoke with them quite extensively actually, and they mentioned to us that they tried to have an evolution instead of a revolution, so they took over quite a lot of parts from last season that were obviously working quite well for this year as well. Did some improvements here and there, so excited to see them on track later. But now let's focus on E59, Theo Dresden, with their first dynamic run of the competition.
Lights are flashing in yellow. That means the car is in driving mode, but still not starting to drive. Could be any moment. If this process takes too long, the car will be cancelled. Okay, and that's the blue flashing lights. The run was aborted. So, unfortunately, no time for Dresden there.
Yeah, and we can see it now, E59 DNF. Super unfortunate for them that they couldn't get a single meter in. I mean, there will be some learnings, but compared to the other teams who have had runs already in the skid pad and the acceleration, they are definitely at a different starting point. So it will be tough to see how they will perform in the track drive, and but we wish them all the best.
Yes, not starting could be fixed by a very minor or easy thing. So there's a lot of options what could be an issue, but I think they might figure it out and go for the track drive today in the afternoon.
Yeah, Stefan, the thing with track drive though is that you only have one chance. You only have one run, right? You cannot restage, you cannot do some adjustments. So if you go, and if something like what happened here a couple times, you know, cars just not passing the starting line actually, if that happens to you in the track drive, you're out, you're DNF'd.
Yeah, that's a super tough challenge. I mean, we have the similar situation in endurance for the manual drive. You have basically one shot, that's it. So yeah, it will be super intense, but I think car racing is probably in the best spot at the moment. They look super fast, they look super reliable in all disciplines. So yeah, I think they have probably the biggest chance currently.
Yeah. Yeah, what we see often in the track drive is that, you know, once teams pass their first lap, they're actually quite consistent, they're quite safe. Sometimes even, you know, increase the pace a little bit, mostly get to the finish line there, but getting through that first lap, getting over the start line, that is the hard part usually.
Yeah, this is basically also what Stefan explained. I mean, car in the first lap is just mapping the track. It's kind of learning what the track is about, what's important, and then, yeah, just calculating the racing line and then go for it.
Exactly, so maybe we see some strategic decisions in the afternoon with the track drive. You can see evolution within the cars. First lap, mapping the track, and then either having your own racing line mapped to this, or even an evolution of a racing line. So there are different options. Using models to simulate the racing line is one of those, usually called like a model predictive control to know how your car behaves. or we are in an era of artificial intelligence. You could use learning methods to actually increase your lap time every single lap. We'll see if some of the teams use those approaches. Maybe we can have the chance to talk to one of those, or maybe multiple teams. But I think the track dive will be very exciting today.
Yeah, super impressive how far some of these teams are advanced in the techniques they're using and the modeling they're doing. Super interesting to see.
Absolutely. Formula students pretty much at the peak of technology, even if that's manual or autonomous driving. Both of those are using cutting-edge technology, manufacturing, design methods, and the same, of course, applies for software development. So everything that's out there is going to be used by the teams to increase their performance.
Yeah, and I think this also puts the Trondheim approach into perspective, right? They completely redeveloped their software pipeline, which is a huge undertake for like 1 year of development time you have. So let's see how they can do it, because I think they are also lined up on the track.
Yeah, right now they are still in P4. The run was rather clean, the first run, but a little bit conservative. So let's see if they can improve here. Again, their goal, finish top 3 in the DV category. Taking some time, the starting line. And off they go. But it seems a little inconsistent, or it seemed a little inconsistent at the start at least.
Yes, I think they brake because they might have interpreted something as a turn where they want to brake. But now it looks clean.
Yeah, but the speed doesn't look very constant. We also have seen this in the first run. But it's, I think it's a little bit, it looks smoother than the first one.
Yeah, but they come to a stop. This looks like a successful run for Trondheim as well.
Have you seen any counts?
I didn't see any, Christian. I didn't see any. And I would guess that this time was also slightly faster than their first run, 30.63. So this, especially so close to the end of the session, could put them on the podium.
And have you seen the last corner? The steering input was very quick. So their controller or torque vectoring system just threw the car around. So this, I think, shows the potential that is within their system. And maybe we see some of this later in the day.
Time still not updated, but the people on the stream seem to be quite happy about them finishing their run here.
Congratulations to them, especially considering they redesigned their whole pipeline. That's a crazy good job, because you were already mentioning there's so much work to do and there's so much testing to do. You can't isolate any of the problems if you redid everything. The integration of multiple sub-components, you could say, is super important. So if they managed to actually rewrite all of it and come up with this time, impressive.
Yeah. And the time is in as well, 26.95, Stefan. This will put them, timing-wise, on P3 for now. So definitely in a way better position than they were before. So they jumped from 6th position into 3rd. Yeah, potentially going for a podium here, depending on what the teams that are about to come can deliver. The two teams that we can see here now lined up are Milan and Tallinn. Milan already, both of them actually went for their first run, now going for their second run. Both DNF'd on their first run, unfortunately. But Dresden even seems to be ahead of them. could be that the issue that Dresden had was the quick fix. I mean, the car just didn't start, or they didn't end up running. All of this with 3 minutes left in the session. We still haven't got the signal that it will get extended. This could be super, super tight for all of them. And also, I think we were wrong, or I was wrong actually, because in the background, you can see the car from Car Racing being staged. And this is now something that will be super, super interesting. The leading car right now going for their second run, looking to extend their lead and potentially taking off points of their competitors.
Or maybe they just want to stall some time so their competitors can't take their runs. We don't know. We'll see how the officials handle the queue, because we have 2 minutes left. We'll see whether the cars that are ready right now are allowed to drive even after the 12 o'clock time mark. We are not communicating with the officials right now, but it looks like those teams are eager to get their runs in even a few minutes after 12.
Yeah, we basically had the same situation yesterday evening, where the session got extended by around 30 minutes actually, because yeah, the statement was that every team that queued would also be able to run. So if we have the same situation today, I think we are basically also running in the next 15 minutes.
Right now we have a closer look at the post-inspection that's done with the Trondheim car. Every car that takes part in a dynamic discipline and finishes those have to undergo a post-inspection then to make sure that the cars remain in a safe operating condition. If there are any issues with the car, if any checks that the scrutineers try on the car won't pass, then the run won't be qualified as valid. So this will result in a DQ. Hopefully the Trondheim car is fine.
The lights now flashing on Car Racing's car. But it doesn't look that good, does it?
Hard to tell whether it's... Okay, no, that's blue flashing, so we have an emergency. And the Karlsruhe guys are not taking their second attempt.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, but then again, they were in quite a comfortable position here, being the leader right now, the distant leader right now. So it will be interesting to see if any car can even get close to them, especially considering that all the 3 cars left, so Dresden, Milan and Tallinn, all 3 of them haven't got a single counted run in yet. Dresden actually maybe even one of the closest teams to the event site here. So we are in Most, just at the close to the border to Germany and the Czech Republic. Dresden just, yeah, I would say like 1.5 hours, 1 hour from here, depending on how quick you drive. And it's surprising that we haven't seen them here more often, but super happy to see them here for the first time.
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting, right? I mean, we are from Berlin, running here like since basically from the start, 2015. Not really like from the start, but from the early days.
Correct.
10 years now. So yeah, it's also good to see them here.
Yeah, we got the confirmation now that the last two cars will actually be able to run here. So the scrutineers letting every car that is in the queue right now going for their autocross runs. So we got Dresden, Milan, and Tallinn for the last track action before the break.
What's a little bit weird is that we already see the blue flashing ASSI indicators. This usually is not a good sign and shows that something went wrong in the checkup process. Now they're out, maybe they are allowed to redo the process here.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, and this is what I believe the scrutineers also just told them, that time is up and there's two more cars in the queue that we want to get going. So I don't know if they're as lenient as before, as at the beginning of the session, to give everybody their time to fix the issues on the starting line.
In the end, we are already above our closing time, so they're just running because the scrutineers are willing to do so. I don't think they should use up more than they have.
The officials now regathering around the car from Dresden, probably coming with a verdict of what they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be. And I fear this might not be good news for them, and that they have to pull out the car from the Autocross and give way for Milan and Tallinn.
Of course, everybody wants to get their runs in. Everybody wants to try to compete. We'll see whether Dresden is going to be allowed to. But the push bus coming back, the drivers getting ready to get into the cars. So unfortunately, we are not going to see car E59 drive. But there are two other cars waiting in line to get their runs in, and we're excited. So next car is Milano. They've been very successful at the competition last year in the driverless disciplines, and I think they managed to get the win in the Autocross. So we'll see how they continue on this. They already had some very successful runs in the testing area. Yesterday, they created their own little track drive in the testing area and looked very competitive there. We'll hope that they can continue that on the official track.
Yeah, Stefan, they're going for the second run now. We've seen them before. Unfortunately, went right off the track as well, just like a couple of other teams here. But they took more time in between the first and the second run, so hopefully fix their issues and can get a run in here.
Micro check.
The team now left the car, starting to get the procedure done, and away we go from the starting line. But, oh, the car is back on the track, but it's swerving like crazy.
And
Off the track we are, and it came to a stop manually. Wow, we haven't seen that today yet.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a little bit that they are warming up their tires, but actually I think this was not on purpose. Yeah.
No, definitely not. Stefan, do you maybe have a take on why something like this could happen?
This is usually the effect of a very small look-ahead distance. So the car is just adjusting its path like 1 or 2 meters ahead of its nose. So it's just wobbling around. I don't know if that's the case here, but this might be where this originates from. I don't know why they would go for such a small look-ahead distance, but we don't know what the strategy behind their control system is. So this is just wild guessing here.
Is this something that is fixable for the track drive afterwards?
I believe it is fixable, and you can definitely tune your software. But you probably can't test it beforehand. They might have to go to the testing area. I don't think they have the time for that, especially considering that you want to get some manual runs in today. So you're adjusting, but you don't know what the effects are. You probably just have to go for it, but there are options.
Yeah, Stefan, and quickly, before we jump to the last action on the track, we got some more voices at the start of the Autocross with Kasia.
Team is now on the track. How are you feeling?
Well, we're quite anxious, but I believe we're going to do everything that we can drive, and it'll go okay.
Yeah, what do you think will be okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Anxious and not super talkative guys from Tallinn there. Just so we know the Estonians. Their team, the last one, on track now. Tallinn getting ready here. Remember their first run? They went straight off in the first corner. They got off to a good start, but yeah, unfortunately went off track just as they started the first corner. Let's see if they were able to fix it in the meantime. They were working constantly on the car for the last hour or so, and they are the last team now that could challenge the top 3 here.
What happened?
Basically, it didn't work, and it went to the right instead of straight.
Good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, we see disappointment in the faces of the people from Milan. Understandably, couldn't get any runs in here after being so successful last year, which I'm sure they wanted to repeat. Yeah, we just wish them all the best for the track drive later on. But we still got one more car to go. Again, Team Tallinn before the lunch break.
And not to forget the manual disciplines we also have in the afternoon. We also wish that they can show the potential of the car.
Yeah, Christian, this will be super interesting to see whether the same competitors that have been good in the driverless category will also be on top in the manual categories. As we know from experience, it's 2 complete different categories, and getting both right is super, super hard. Last run about to start. Team Tallinn, off the line they go. Slow and steady for now.
First corner coming up. They managed it this time. Already doubled the distance from their first run. There's a couple cones there. Car still going though. 2 cones, I believe, so on the inside there. Halfway done. And the car comes to a stop. That's a sudden stop. And that was definitely not manual, was it?
No, I don't see a reason why. They should have stopped it manually, so it must be an error.
Yeah. Super, super unfortunate for Tallinn here. Also couldn't get a run in. And I think all of this just showcases again on how hard this track drive really is compared to the skid pad and the acceleration for the DV teams here. And yeah, overall, this is how we wrap up the morning session. We had 3 hours of action on the track from the driverless cars. And we're looking forward to see you again in roughly 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours, when finally, because we are also super interested in the manual categories start. We will see more tracks and more cars on the track, but at the same time, we will have the DV track drive.
Yeah, it will be a super busy afternoon, so please make sure to stay tuned and see you in the afternoon.
Yeah, thank you everyone.